to the show. As Bitcoiners, we are all getting a front row seat to the next financial collapse while the rest of the world is blissfully unaware. The world's biggest financial institutions have been admitting that they can't give their investors their money back. And the scary part isn't the gates, it's what's behind them. Pension funds, insurance companies, and sovereign wealth funds poured trillions into loans they can't price, managed by firms who profit from pretending everything's fine. Now, on top of this week, we're going to cover online censorship bills hitting North America and new dystopian technology that turns your Wi-Fi router into a tracking device that can see through walls. So strap in, drop a like on the video. I'm Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your weekly session. All right, and I want to welcome to the stage my co-host with the most, Mr. Nathan Fitzsimmons, a BTC mentor. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, and I'll probably be doing pretty good for the next 24 hours, but come Friday, I think I'm going to get arrested by the Canadian government.
We are going to talk about that, and it doesn't just pertain to Canadians. This stuff is worldwide, and it's coming with a vengeance, so we need to be aware. Let's start. We were talking about this with the Bitcast boys yesterday. There was all this credit contagion, all kinds of crazy stuff going on, and more is coming out every single day. So what happened today? Let's chat about it. So I'll grab in the first one that I want to chat about here is with Morgan Stanley. So Morgan Stanley, they restricted redemptions at their private credit fund after a withdrawal surge. And so Zero Hedge covered this in depth, rather.
Lots of debt too, though. I can see how we get that mixed up.
It's a Freudian slip, my friend. So I'm going to cover. Let's first kind of go through the different firms that have been involved. So again, Morgan Stanley is just the latest, but also Deutsche Bank. Their stock price is dumping after they flagged 30 billions in exposure to this private credit that's been drying up and all of that. We've got Blue Owl. They're under fire for the decision to start private credit fire sale, basically selling $1.4 billion in private loans for just fire sale prices. Also, the other day, we were talking about BlackRock. They were limiting fund withdrawals. Investor worries mount around the $2 trillion in private credit industry. So that's how big the industry itself. Their fund, which is around $26 billion, people were trying to get something to the tune of around up to 9 point something percent when their quarterly limit is 5%. So it's been pretty wild. And so I'll just bring back up the Zero Hedge article, but I just want to kind of lay out what the hell are these things. Actually, I don't even need that up right now. Let's just chat about what this stuff is. I've got some Cliff's notes I'm just going to go through. So what are these loans? So these loans are to private mid-sized companies, a lot of them like software and tech firms. Now, the loans themselves, they're not publicly traded. So what this means in practice is there's no like live pricing mechanism. So you sink money into these things. You have no idea the current price of it because they're not actively traded at all. They typically have a floating rate. They have 3 to 5 year terms. Now, again, we outlined some of the lenders that are involved here: BlackRock, Blackstone, Morgan Stanley, Cliffwater, Blue Owl. There's so many waters. But there's a lot of, and this is just kind of scratching the surface. I'll show that Zero Hedge article again, outlining all of the different private credit stuff that has come up just in the past month. Now, the investors in these things, oftentimes pension funds, insurance companies, sovereign wealth funds, family offices. The borrowers, again, private equity-backed mid-market companies heavily weighed towards tech and software. So the thing that's coming up here is a duration mismatch, because the people that are lending into this or like buying these debt instruments, they're told you have redemption. You have the ability to redeem these quarterly. It's easy. But they can only do so much. Whereas the borrowers, they're given 3 to 5 year terms. So you've got people that are told you can pull your money out anytime. And then you've got the borrowers that are like, you can keep this money for like 5 years. No holds barred. Don't worry about it. And all of a sudden, the cracks are starting to show, and people are like, I don't know if this is a good thing to have money in anymore. And they're trying to redeem en masse, right? Like double digit percentages wanting to get their money out, like sometimes 14, 15% of an entire fund trying to redeem in a quarter. You know, a lot of times double, triple the redemption gate that they have. These companies often have where they say, like, if too many people are pulling out money, it's going to force us to sell this stuff below an ideal market rate, and our investors will get screwed and will get screwed and all these different things. So investors promised quarterly redemptions, short term. Loans can't be sold quickly without steep discounts. It all works fine until, again, everybody wants out simultaneously. And that's when the gates are really screwing with things. So the scariest problems here, the fund managers, they get to grade their own homework. They get to calculate the NAV, and the NAV determines their own fees because their fees are based on the value of the assets managed. So if they're honest and there's problems and they say, like, actually, this probably isn't worth as much as we're saying it is, they get less money in fees, which is, if you guys remember The Big Short, also similar situation where there was an incentive not to properly price these things and price in the risk. Now, again, no market price exists. Losses can be hidden until they suddenly aren't. We have examples of some of these pricing mechanisms, different agencies. In one instance, one fund was valuing one at 83 cents on the dollar, and another one was valuing it at 97 cents. So, like, huge pricing mismatches. Now, the other thing is, some of these struggling borrowers, if they can't pay back, they're called PIK loans. And what you can do is, rather than actually having to give the cash payment to pay back, you can just add the debt to their balance and just skip it. Just feel, just stick it on the tab. So this is happening in some of these instances. Currently, the DOJ and the SEC are circling, and they're flagging these creative valuations that people have been giving. Again, some of these funds, 95 billion in bank credit lines, backstopping a lot of these. The contagion risk into traditional banking is unprecedented. If it unravels, again, major Blackstone, BlackRock, Morgan Stanley, Cliffwater. Again, the issue is, it wouldn't be if it was just one of them, but it's all of them, all at the same time. There's a big fucking problem going on here. Nathan, I'm going to stop rambling here. What are your thoughts?
Man, there's so much to unpack there. First and foremost, one that jumps out at me too is the fact that there are a lot of software companies getting these loans that I think that their valuation is going to get written down to zero. Maybe I'm being a little bit hyperbolic, but essentially that, especially when I've been playing around with it. It's fucking crazy. When you're playing around with things like Claude Code, it's like, okay, software as a service or even a software product, that's basically all going to be available to things that you can build on your own or just have open source or much cheaper options very, very quickly. I don't think anyone realizes just how fast the ability for these large language models to code is actually accelerating. So I'd be very scared about even a 3-year duration on some of those companies' loans, whether or not they'll be defaulting on them. The other aspect that I want to touch on too, that you're right, they get to set their own prices, but it's this idea of the credit cycle. I sent you an image as well, though, too. Maybe we'll pull that one up in a second here. But the thing to remember, like, why does this spread? Why is this so bad? Well, it goes back to the reasons why also the whole debt-based fiat system is absolutely terrible, because one man's credit is another man's income, right? So that loan on their balance sheet is their asset, and the income that they're getting from that, again, is going to pay other people. It's just basically like turtles all the way down. And there's basically 2 ways that you can destroy money in this system. It's either by repaying the loan or by defaulting on it. And the chain of events that go from that is just unfathomable of how interlocked this is. We can go back to like the kind of 2008 monetary crisis and that sort of situation, that everyone's counting on someone else to pay them back, or counting on more credit to be created in order to fund upcoming projects or pay upcoming needs and stuff as well. So it's I talked about it last night. I'm looking for this moment where I feel like we're going to have some sort of pullback, some sort of correction, and it feels like we're getting closer and closer. I don't know if private credit is it. The part that I find absolutely most frustrating, though, is I'm trying to think of like how, okay, let's just say that there is a private, like we're not at that point yet. We have kind of like a little bit of a crisis brewing in private credit. Is it going to get to the point of like outright contagion, and how bad would it be? How far would it spread? And I think, the big lesson from The Big Short is that they'll paper over it at everybody else's expense, or at least they're going to try to, right? They're not going to, they're going to lie and manipulate the valuations and try to hold back the funds for their own profit. But then as soon as things turn sour, they'll run for a bailout and we'll all get screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's, they're privatizing the profits and they're socializing the losses. And that's just how it always goes, because when you have people that can set the rules, and you have people that are very successful and have a lot of money, that can then bribe the people that set the rules will favor the elite few that sit at the top there. And so, strictly speaking, the problem isn't that people are seeking profit and being capitalistic. The problem is that those people can effectively pay off the government to keep them insulated from their own bad decisions and bad actions. Right. And so the crux of it all is the government.
Yes, and the other concern here too is like, and again, I'm not saying that this is that moment, but it's definitely something we all need to pay attention to, is the idea that, okay, let's say that because there's going to be a lot of capital related in these funds that are tied up in like retirement accounts and 401ks, right? If BlackRock is affected, if Fidelity, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, right? If these guys are impacted by some sort of private credit crisis, well, that's the American population's retirement and savings account. And so they're absolutely going to get bailed out. But that also seems ripe for an opportunity to push basically UBI or a CBDC. That the next time that the boomers who are expecting to get their retirement account, their retirement accounts get wiped out, they're going to go running to the government saying, hey, you got to bail us out too. Well, we can, but we're going to put you on basically, government UBI stipend in the form of like Circle, USDC.
Yeah, exactly. Now I mentioned that there were just an insane amount of examples. We mentioned 4 or 5 off the top of the show.
Yep.
But I just want to show this Zero Hedge article and the laundry list that they have here. This is starting from February 3rd, so just over a month ago. These are all of the articles. So this article here, now that the private credit bubble has burst and the liquidation fire sales have begun, it's getting very challenging to keep up with all the dismal headlines on a daily, let alone hourly basis. Side note, I saw a comment the other day, nothing but fear on this show. It's all so tiresome. I was like, I mean, what do you want us to do, man? Look at the examples. Like next episode, Nathan, I'll just ask you if you caught the game last night. Does that sound okay?
That sounds good. I got to figure out which game I watch.
Yeah, I'm definitely not kept up on the game. But nonetheless, first, for those who have not kept up with this spectacular slow motion at first, although now accelerating, private credit disaster, we suggest catching up with these must-read articles detailing the bursting of the private credit bubble and how we got where we are. Again, starting February 3rd, they start talking about private credit stocks crashing. They move on to the software as a service apocalypse going down. They talk about canary in the coal mine, talking about Blue Owl. So Blue Owl we just mentioned, but this goes back to late February as well. So 3 weeks ago. Private credit rocked by UBS shock outlook, cascading defaults. They also talk about even more billions vaporized and private credit collapse. That's February 27th. They go on to talk about HeartNet, more private credit, March 1st. They're talking about another world's largest private credit fund hit with record redemptions. BlackRock slashes private loan value from 100 to 0. So they wrote off a bunch of loans that people just weren't paying back. Again, $26 billion fund, world's largest asset manager. Insurance companies crushed. Fund described as first domino in private credit bank run, hit with over 7% redemptions. JP Morgan limits lending to private credit groups after marking down loan collateral. That was just yesterday. And then, of course, today we've got Morgan Stanley, we've got Deutsche Bank, we've got all this crap. It's wild.
It's crazy. And it's likely going to end up... if this continues, you can fully expect the QE's back on the table as well. Because I'm trying to lay out, there's so many cascading effects, right? If you have default there and you've got to meet some obligations, you no longer have that asset anymore, you're going to have to go and sell something else, right? This is where you see the kind of, what's it called? Like cascading price, cascading margin calls. You've got to go and sell something else now in a distressed situation to plug a different hole. And so we start to see, the Fed has been so active, and I think they're active right now too. I can say with some degree of likelihood that I think if this sort of thing progresses, you can expect they're going to have to start going into the market and start basically buying up assets in order to keep those prices elevated so everybody can meet their calls and meet their obligations and not allow it to continue further.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, man. I was not well informed during the 08-09 financial crisis.
Yep.
But I do recall beginning to see things like this bubble up. And in hindsight, looking back, having watched The Big Short, having watched Margin Call, having looked back through a Bitcoin lens at all the stuff and kind of where it bubbles up. It's very interesting watching history not repeat itself, but rhyme. And I think we're destined for some pretty good rhymes coming up here. Now, you mentioned a chart. I think I've an image. I think I've got it here. I'll bring it up. I don't have a lot of context for this, so you're going to have to. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. So, New World Order, prosperity followed by a debt bubble, followed by a big wealth gap, followed by a debt bust, then money printing money and credit, then revolutions and wars, then debt and political restructuring, then New World Order yet again.
Yes.
Who is this? This feels like a thing that would be like Zero Hedge or like Marty Bent or something like that. Who did this?
Oh no, even better. We talked about him on the show recently too. He gets some things really wrong, but some things right. This one is Ray Dalio. This is from Changing New World Order, I believe it is. I forget what the book title is, but he's phenomenal when it comes to credit cycles, and he's absolutely right. Basically, you get over your skis, and then we have this cascading kind of overcorrection and then back, right? If we were on a sound money, you wouldn't have to worry about that because you basically just have consistent growth. But I am looking at this chart and just wondering where we are in the cycle. And I think, again, I've mentioned it before, one of the biggest tells, and we'll see if maybe even the Fed and the Treasury get involved here at some point. But when the Fed and the Treasury basically merge into one, and I'm curious to see what happens with the new chair coming up here in May, that's the end of the credit cycle. That's like the last big red flag saying, hey, we're kicking off this thing right now. But this feels like maybe this is part of the debt bust before the money printing, right?
Yeah.
And I would argue, again, the credit going similarly QE as well, because QE, for just a little bit of context as well to the way that at least I'm thinking about it. QE is not money printing. It does not create more dollars. It's anti-dollar destruction. So remember that dollars are created by the issuance of a new loan. Commercial bank gives a new loan, creates new credit units, new fiat crap going around in the system. QE is just stopping that from deflating, from actually being destroyed when we have one of these bust moments.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, with all that cheery news, we have even more coming up. We cover Bitcoin here, but we also cover freedom tech and trying to avoid things like censorship and, have even the chilling effect of online censorship laws, quote unquote, hate speech laws, things like that can be kind of thrown about in any way to vilify whatever person you see fit if you speak out of term against whatever the existing regime wants you to say. And so it can be done in pretty broad strokes. We've seen examples of this around the world. While it is hitting North America basically now. So probably tomorrow, we're going to be looking down the barrel of this. We're going to be chatting about exactly what that is on the other side of the break. So stay tuned. And also that wild thing with the Wi-Fi routers being able to track you through walls and everything. We're going to be touching that as well. We've also got a friend of the show returning. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So we'll see you guys in just a sec. Make sure you drop a like on the video and stay tuned. Bitcoin Well is the best place to be buying and selling Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And now with Bitcoin Well Infinite, it's also the best place to be making large buys at their OTC desk of over $50,000. Their white glove service gives you fast transactions, no slippage, and the lowest fees. You can scan the QR code on the screen or simply head to bitcoinwell.com/BTC Sessions to sign up today. And you can share your own personalized referral link to earn commissions. CoinKite has been in the game for years, creating hands down the best and most secure hardware when it comes to securing your Bitcoin. The Cold Card Q is an absolute powerhouse and my daily driver, and it's ideal for newcomers and advanced users alike. The Tap Signer gives you a low-cost, user-friendly option for those just getting started or for convenience when traveling. You can head to coinkite.com and use code BTC Sessions for discounts, or simply scan the QR code on the screen to get started right away. One company I like pointing people to when they ask about Bitcoin mining is Abundant Mines. They were founded by Bo and Christine Turner after losing over $500,000 to broken promises in the mining industry. And they built their hosting model to remove the usual headaches. With Abundant Mines, you own your machines and keep 100% of the Bitcoin you mine. There's no revenue share, no hidden skims. Pricing is simple. One flat monthly fee covers power, parts, labor, and repairs. They also guarantee uptime. If a machine goes down, their hash rate redirect system routes hash power from their fleet so earnings don't just stop, and every machine is insured at full replacement value. Everything is hosted in the US, powered by Hydro, and mining equipment may qualify for 100% year one bonus depreciation. Learn more at abundantmines.com/sessions. All right. We are back in. Nathan, maybe we should touch on, before we get into what's going on here in terms of online censorship and everything. We went through a whole bunch of stuff just now. The potential bust that's coming up. What can people do in order to prepare for this, especially as Bitcoiners? So, I mean, what would you have to say to that?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, it's like just that be mentally prepared if you haven't gone through like a Bitcoin cycle before, that things could get crazy out there. Doesn't mean that you're wrong. Bitcoin trades 24/7. It can be hyper volatile. We're kind of like, I think we're trickling up like 70K right now. I haven't even checked my block clock to see where we're at. But if there is a contagion event, correlation to 1, Bitcoin's getting dragged down 2. If you go back to the the 2021 COVID crash or 2020 COVID crash, you saw it rip back up to where it was within 6 months, and then we were off to the races. So just that mental awareness that, like, hey, if shit does hit the fan, it's probably going to take it. You're probably going to get taken out the knees here for just even a brief while, because they're selling off everything. It's a small market cap comparatively. The other one too is that it's another reason that, like, everything that's going on in those sort of events, one of the major things to kind of keep in mind as a concept is this idea of like risk, right? So it's basically risk off. And one of the compounding issues that you have there is that banks don't want to lend out any money. They're just hyper risk adverse. They don't want to create new loans, which means there's no new capital, no new cash being created, not getting into the system. Things are getting liquid. It's all kind of just like grinding to a halt and has an issue there. For the Bitcoin side as well too, is like, what risk do you currently have? Do you have any third-party risk? Are you leaving it with an exchange? Is it part of some other vehicle? Is it part of some other product, right? Now would be a good time. And again, I'm not saying you have to, but you should. I'm going to go with should. I think I'm fine with that. It's not financial advice. It's monetary advice. Bitcoin and self-custody. Are you adding unnecessary risk by leaving it in the hands of somebody else who might not have it or might sell it if there is a major problem? And so if you haven't gone down the Bitcoin self-custody rabbit hole, now is the time to start learning to do that, right? Don't rush. get comfortable, go through the tools. More Bitcoin has been lost than been stolen. So, take your time, spend a weekend. But I think it's really important that, like, if you had gold, maybe you want to hold gold bars. If you have Bitcoin, make sure you're holding Bitcoin in self-custody. Ben, is there anything else that I missed or something that you think?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that you touched on, that things get volatile when things get uncertain. Yeah, it extends out. It extends out to everything outside of the real problem, right?
Yep.
Just people are panicked. They need liquidity. And also sometimes people that are holding Bitcoin also have investments in other things that are going tits up, and they need to meet their obligations. And what's super liquid and can be redeemed for dollars right away? Bitcoin.
Yeah, you don't sell what you want to. Sometimes you sell what you have to at times, right? That applies on the personal and on the company levels as well.
Yeah, exactly. So again, perfect example of this that historically could be something like what we see. Look at the gold price in the Weimar Republic during hyperinflation and see how extreme that was. Gold was the stable thing, but the pricing in marks was insane.
Yeah.
And people didn't know how to properly price anything. And so just keep your head about it, keep your wits about you. Understand that the stable thing, when priced in the unstable thing, will seem unstable.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. It's good that we cover that. Good call.
Yeah. Okay, so let's chat online censorship, because it's getting crazy. We've seen examples of this elsewhere. This is hitting Canada, but just because it's hitting Canada, if you're in the US, if you're in another country, I do not want you to ignore this, because you need to watch for it locally as well and know how you can prepare for it and make sure that you are going to be okay throughout these things. So what's going on here? The Liberals and the Bloc, which is another political party here in Canada, they have
separatist party.
Yeah, separatist party. Well, they're not being called bigots.
Weird.
Really weird. I don't know. Anyways, so they joined forces to ram through this bill with no further debate on it. It's an online censorship bill. So they just successfully shut down the debate, basically said, like, this is happening. Well, where do I want to start here? Let's chat. I've got this clip here. So what you need to know about Bill C9. This is a bill. First of all, it's not needed. We already have legislation in and around the legality of, like, actual abuse and harassment and all that kind of stuff, inciting violence, things that
should not have that bill to begin with. Yep, I hear you.
Exactly. So they're attempting to pass this bill with letting anti-Semitic, anti-Christian, and other death cult-related hate speech be exempt based on a belief in religious text. So if a certain book or religion says all, I don't think I can even read this. Yeah. Anyways, it's selective depending on what you believe. They will say that's hate speech, or they will say that's fine. That's so it's doesn't apply evenly across everything. It's a complete mess. It's pretty wild. And on top of this, they're trying to pass this. So, like, it is so broad. So they say it's not even like extreme cases. It just says, like, if there's ill intent, or if it's if it seems like you're I can't even remember the wording, but it's just so vague, where it could be interpreted however somebody wants to interpret it. And furthermore, they're also tabling new internet monitoring bills, which requires electronic service providers to retain prescribed metadata of user activity for at least 1 year. The bill text is not currently released. And beyond that, not only do they want to screw with your free speech on the internet, they want to find out the anonymous accounts. So the quote here, the types of information law enforcement would be looking for from these companies include IP addresses of suspects based under C9 that broke the law by saying words. Suspects who are using false identities on social media to commit crimes, aka words.
Words.
Yeah. So they will, if you have anonymous accounts, they will go to they will task your IP, your internet provider, with finding your IP address, and actually finding out who owns the anon account that is on X or whatever. So, we've seen this playing out. We've seen the UK is a friggin' mess. They what was it in 12,000 arrests, in over 12,000 arrests, I think, in 2025, 30 arrests a day for social media posts in the UK right now. It's crazy. It's more than that. It's more than what goes on in Russia. The number of people arrested over social media, like by a large margin. And then we're also seeing it in other forms, right? We're seeing online age verification rules under the guise of, protect the kids, don't let them see bad stuff, make sure they're not using social media, so on and so forth, which, like, yeah, parenting is good, but also, what does that mean for the average person? It means if you want to access social media, if you want to go on certain websites, if you want to use the internet, ID please, right? Like, that's what it becomes. And what does that ID please then relate back to? Well, it then relates back to, what are you saying online? Well, now that we're tracking your every move with an ID, we can come arrest you expediently. So, so really quick, Nathan, I'm just going to rattle off some things that might be helpful to people. Obviously, we understand Bitcoin censorship resistant money, and there's also privacy tools that you can use with your censorship resistant money. What about the internet in general? Mulvad VPN, excellent way to hide your IP address when you are using the internet, and they accept Bitcoin, pretty solid. On top of this, what if they were to shut down the internet at a protest or something? BitChat, peer-to-peer mesh network messaging. Awesome. Another great way to chat. Private messaging through something like Signal. There is also some interesting developments in and around something called white noise, which I'm excited to dive more into. And then just in general, censorship resistant online speech. I mean, go to Nostr, guys.
Yep.
Like, this is, it's they cannot take down your shit. So, I mean, I know there's a lot there. It's dystopian. It doesn't seem good, but at least start learning the tools, start using some online privacy tools, use a VPN, things like that. Yeah, more to come. But Nathan, thoughts?
Oh, this is horrific. This is absolutely horrific. And I have nothing good to say on it. I'm reminded too, if you remember back, I think it was like 2016, it was Bill C-16. And that's where like Peterson came to rise. We've had problems with free speech and compelled speech in Canada. Even like our stupid cigarette boxes, they like have to have writing and words on them. They've gone down this rabbit hole, been okay for like save the children and protect people. And they will compel you to say things in one way or another, even though it's not your expression, or they will basically come after you. The UK has been just like a basket case of this scenario. And I'm afraid that Canada is going to go down that route because they will always shift it, right? And I'm going to say they're kicking out a bedrock there, like a key foundation, saying that you cannot, religious exemption, like religious expression isn't good enough anymore. Okay, so you can just take it, then the idea of having like religious freedom in Canada, it's gone. It's gone. They've what is it? You like a 5% compromise on this is like a 100% compromise of the principle. I forget the expression. I forget who I heard it from. It's probably Ron Paul. I'm so sure it was too. Once you've already accepted that your religious beliefs do not trump someone else's feelings, because what hate speech is, right? You have free speech not to protect you from the stuff that you agree with, obviously. It's to protect you from the things that are controversial or outside the norm, right? And that's actually how we move and progress forward as a society as well, too. If we're all saying the same damn thing, we're going nowhere like Canada, except for to hell in a handbasket and quite quickly. So very concerned about this. I don't see like how I even personally won't trip up over these laws at some point in time. It's going to happen. They're going to, because then it's going to come down to political aspects, right? It's going to come down to, it's going to go beyond that. It's going to go any identifiable group, And eventually it just is whatever is the Overton window that they want to hold and keep pushing forward, right? If I say fuck the state, is that going out on there's a lot of hate. When I say fuck the state, there is a lot of hate behind those words, and I really mean it. Fuck all of them. Fuck this entire system. It's morally and ethically wrong. It's not coming from a religious standpoint, but I'm not lying. I'm speaking the truth. I don't even think I'm inaccurate in that statement as well, too. This is only the beginning. We also have the news thing. Like, you can't. I haven't been on Facebook in God knows how long, but you can't even like view U.S. news and shit on Facebook and stuff too right now.
Yeah, if you go to like if you're on Instagram and there's even like the news, they're just their dedicated accounts. You just go and it's like, this content is not viewable in Canada. So
yeah,
I feel so much safer. Quick question before we bring in a special guest here, Nathan. If all of us were in Canada, which host on Bitcast would be arrested first?
Oh, geez. Which host is going to get arrested first? You know what? I bet you it would be Brandon. Because
really?
Because for some reason the state always tries to go for the low-hanging fruit, and he's probably the one that wouldn't shoot out the door first.
I think it's Joey.
Yeah, probably.
Just because he runs his mouth. I think it's for sure Joey. Yeah.
If you complain about the dystopian future and hellscape that they are forcing upon you by stealing from you, by allowing your cities and communities to completely rot, by ripping away your future, if you complain, straight to the gulag.
Yeah. I see some votes for Walker in the chat too.
Well, he's a higher risk grab.
True.
They're sending in a whole team on that one.
He's heavily armed. He would smuggle his weapons across the border. Okay, so we got to pivot here.
Yep.
We keep doing this.
Yep.
We're just gonna go for it. We're gonna welcome back our in the field Fiat correspondent. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him by now. Mr. Walter Peck. Walter, welcome back. What do you got there?
You doing the dishes, buddy?
What you doing?
What the fuck was that?
Oh, hello, Benjamin. Nathaniel. Sorry if I startled you, but hopefully you're startled into some sensible thinking. You see, in last week's podcast, you two gentlemen seemed fairly critical of what you described as a war, when in reality, it is a preemptive peacekeeping action. You see, we knew that Israel was on the verge of attacking Iran, and that Iranian retaliation would have put American troops stationed in the 19 bases around Iran at risk. So in a way, while some have said this puts troops in harm's way, putting them in harm's way was actually the best thing we could do to protect them. And while you two are holding atop your supposed high moral horses, allow me to jerk you off by explaining how this war is actually a double good thing because of a little something called the broken window theory. And that brings me to this week's pecking order. Peck number 5. Much like how I broke that glass, Franklin Roosevelt got the world out of the Great Depression by breaking half of Europe and Japan, and thus creating massive demand to rebuild goods and infrastructure. By destroying parts of Iran, we'll provide countless jobs for Iranians to rebuild it, so if anything, we're doing them a favor. Peck number 4. It's not just Iranians who benefit, but also American contractors. Consider all the billions of dollars that will be paid to American workers to rebuild American overseas bases. And if done correctly, those bases can be rebuilt in an ideal position to get destroyed again, thus creating even more jobs. Peck number 3. In addition to rebuilding bases, we'll be able to devote money to rebuild and restock our weapons. Instead of our engineers working to improve something as vaguely subjective as quality of life, they'll instead help to create fiery explosions of peace. Peck number 2. And yes, it is tragic that 160 Iranian children were killed in a blast that destroyed their school. But what you probably didn't consider is that fewer children means less of a future burden for the Iranian welfare state, and that's money that will instead be able to be redirected toward rebuilding that school. And peck number 1, if you object to this war, you're an American-hating, anti-Semitic Holocaust denier.
Holy moly. That was you've outdone yourself. Wow. Okay. Despite the horrible things that were said there, Walter, I've got to ask if we are just going to tear things down to build them back again. Will we not then just tear down the next thing? When does this cycle end?
Well, it seems that you Bitcoiners are finally beginning to get it, because unlike the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, the fiat cycle is eternal.
It certainly is. Wow. Okay. Well, Walter, we thank you for your fiat input, and I guess we'll be seeing you next week. Let's cut to break. Looking for a simple and secure way to manage your Bitcoin on mobile? AQUA Wallet has you covered. It's user-friendly and puts you in full control of your Bitcoin with secure self-custody. AQUA also supports Lightning and Liquid Network, making fast, cheap Bitcoin payments and asset transfers easier than ever. Plus, it even supports stablecoins, giving you ultimate flexibility. Built on open source code, AQUA is transparent, trustworthy, and perfect for beginner and pros alike. Ready to upgrade your Bitcoin experience? Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen now to download AQUA Wallet today. Securing your Bitcoin doesn't have to be complicated or invasive. With NUNCHUK's HONEYBADGER plan, you get state-of-the-art multisig with built-in inheritance planning and no KYC required. NUNCHUK is trusted by users to secure billions of dollars in Bitcoin. The HONEYBADGER plan offers 204 assisted multisig, guiding you step-by-step on mobile or desktop. It works seamlessly with hardware wallets like TapSigner, ColdCard, Jade, and plenty of others, so you're always in control. Plus, with non-KYC inheritance planning, you can ensure your Bitcoin goes to your loved ones. No private info needed. Take control of your Bitcoin today. Click the link in the show notes or scan the QR code on the screen to check out the HONEYBADGER plan. Debify is the best and easiest way to borrow against your Bitcoin in a non-custodial way. Funds are held in a multisig escrow where you hold a key, and the platform allows for excellent hardware like the ColdCard Mark IV and the Q. You have access to flexible conditions, the best rates, and institutional-grade liquidity. If you're looking to make use of your capital, don't sell your Bitcoin, borrow against it. You can head over to debify.com to check them out, or simply scan the QR code on the screen. All right, we're back in. Wow, that was a spicy chat.
Was he going to jerk you off your horse? I forget what that was, but I remember the phrasing.
I was hearing you laugh in the background of his monologue. Which was, yeah, it was... Walter has really outdone himself. I don't know how he's going to top that one.
Yeah, my bad on that one. I forgot to mute my mic and was laughing at the seriousness of his commentary.
Wow. Okay. Well,
thanks for getting that, Sessions. Much appreciated there, sir.
Yeah, no worries. How to even pivot from there, but we're gonna try. We talked off the top of the show about this thing to do with Wi-Fi routers and how they can become surveillance tech. And it's pretty wild here. I gotta show you this. So
while you're pulling that up, I'd heard like rumors or conspiracy theories about this for the longest time. Didn't think too much of it. This is terrifying.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty wild. I've got some Cliff's notes on it. I'm just grabbing them here. But okay, so first of all, what can it detect? What is this? How does it work? All of that. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot here. So this is actually open source. So it's called Wi-Fi Dense Pose, also known as RuView. It's built on research originally pioneered at Carnegie Mellon University, and it exploits something called channel state information, or CSI. It's metadata that Wi-Fi hardware already collects to optimize signal transmission. And so basically when a human body moves within a wireless environment, it distorts the signal paths across dozens of these OFDM subcarriers, they're called. The system can then reconstruct full body human poses through walls using only Wi-Fi signals. And so what can it actually detect? Again, full body pose estimation and movement tracking. breathing rate, heart rate, and like basically vital sign monitoring. Again, presence detection through walls, multiple people simultaneously, and room occupancy patterns over time. The hardware that's required for this, it's basically nothing. So, oh God, what is it? It's basically like a thumb-sized chip, so something like that. And those things can cost somewhere between $1 and $10. And it does not have to be placed in your Wi-Fi router. Your Wi-Fi router does not have to be compromised or anything. Somebody just needs to place it in or near a room, because remember, you can see through walls. So the barrier to entry is basically gone. Any threat actor can take like a $5, it's called an ESP32 node, and could place it in like a building's common room or in a hallway of like an apartment complex, somewhere that has like universal Wi-Fi all around. And as soon as this device is placed discreetly, they basically get what you're seeing here on the screen. Like they can see the room, they can see the movement. You walk outside the room, they see you through the wall, what you're doing. If you're, with a loved one, you're with your wife or something, like that's all caught. They get a picture of what's in the room. Like it's
stick-figure porn.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, how does one protect themselves for this? Well,
Ted Kaczynski.
Yeah, pretty much. No, so I mean, you can create a Faraday cage of your house. So there's that. There's the RFID sleeves for passports and things like that. There's such thing as RF shielding paint. Yeah, exactly. So you could technically paint the interior of a house with the RFID stuff, which basically makes your house a Faraday cage.
Wouldn't want to bet Sally already did that.
Yeah, probably. You can also do RF noise injections. So you can basically create artificial RF signals to actively drown out and scramble the CSA. Oh, God.
That was a Freudian slip. Yeah.
CIA, CSA. How many different government agents can I fumble through there? CSI scattering patterns. There are ways to minimize it. So 5 gigahertz signals from your Wi-Fi router don't go through walls as well. 2.4 is designed to. Really all you can do right now practically is just audit your physical locations, check for small hidden devices, things like that. But it doesn't even connect to your local network. It doesn't even need to be on your Wi-Fi. It's just in the room where your Wi-Fi router is blasting a signal on it, and it sees everything. So until routers specifically have the ability to kind of screw with the signal so that these things can't see what they're currently seeing, it's like, I don't know, make your house into a Faraday cage. That's pretty much it. I don't know what to tell you. I wish I had better news. Nathan, what do you think about this?
Well, don't forget, there is one other option, an easier option. Well, there's two. There's two good options here. One, everybody should probably go bug Matt Hill and say, please add some sort of RFID noise to the router that they're putting out. That might be helpful. That might be a good one. And the other one that we probably neglect, right? We get comfortable in this age of convenience and all these things too. Fucking Ethernet, right? Yeah. Scrap the Wi-Fi. Go back to cables. Fuck this shit.
Yeah. I will say that cabled internet, like this thing is hardwired and it runs like a dream. Internet, never have issues with it. But I do have one of those. How did Joey phrase it? In order to have good Wi-Fi, you need to own something only a virgin would own. Yeah, it's like one of those routers, like 8 friggin' antennas on it. Yeah, I've got
it's like a spider upside down, right?
Yeah,
belongs on your D&D table there, sir.
Yeah, yes, indeed. So, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this looks like a case for Start9 and Matt Hill.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
please, people better at this shit than me, help me.
Yeah. Yeah. So either way, let's move to something a little bit more positive. I am very excited for this.
Yes.
New gold card, MK5. It looks pretty. So bigger screen, new keypad, faster NFC. So like the NFC on the Mark IV wasn't great. It's good on the Q. So if I'm not mistaken, it's the same NFC
antenna. Pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that means that's going to be great for like use with a phone.
Yep.
Backwards compatible, seamless upgrade. So like if you're on a Mark IV right now, you can get this and it's the same firmware and everything, and you can literally just clone over an old cold card to it and it'll work like a dream. So yeah, I mean, I'm stoked for this. It looks nice too. I'll mute it here, but
don't play that music. YouTube will hate us.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, the screen is Gorilla Glass. It looks pretty solid. I like that they're sticking with the transparent cases and everything like that. But I have 3 on the way. I got a multi-color. I got 3 different colors coming my way, and I will make a video on it. My last MK4 video was like years ago. So
yeah, I was surprised to see this get released actually, because I thought the next iteration would be an upgrade on the Q. I figured the MK4 was probably, you know, at that point, but I guess no. We got a nice new NFC, new keyboard, new screen, good to go. Which, by the way, guys, because I have my Qs and I love them. And people that I work with, when do we bring in the MK4? One, cost sensitive option, and the device is great, which is convenient straight off there too. But for you guys that already have a Q, it sometimes can make sense to get like the MK5 or the MK4, clone it and stick that in like a safety deposit box, because non-exposed seed, right? It's protected by the pin. You can lower the threshold till when it wipes itself. I also did want to point out, Sessions, that we got a new firmware update too. So anybody that's rocking cold card, new firmware update with BIP 322 proof of reserves. There is the ability to take in WIF key support. What was the other thing I like there? Oh, the nuke device option. I always like trick pins, and there's a nuke device option now too. So
there's also proof of reserves.
Yeah, BIP 322.
I like that NVK tweeted this.
At Sailor.
I think at Sailor can finally do proof of reserves without doxing anything. Again, if you don't know what we're talking about, a while back, Sailor was asked point blank, like, would you guys do proof of reserves so people know like that you have the Bitcoin? Like it's, you know, other 21 is doing it. Like there's multiple firms that have been like, yeah, we can do proof of reserves. River does it.
Yep.
And he said that he didn't have a very satisfactory answer for me. He said it would be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's not how it's.
That's the interview equivalent of saying, "Why is there this gap in your resume?" Oh, I'm sorry, I'm under an NDA.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's again, by showing an address, like if you're publicly stating how much Bitcoin you own, revealing what address it's in does not reduce your security in any way. It's how are you dealing with the keys, right? What it does give is transparency into where the Bitcoin is and when it moves and all that kind of stuff, which could give the market signals about you deciding to do things.
Bingo.
So like that would have been a more transparent way of answering it. Like, listen, like sometimes we move Bitcoin around, sometimes we move it to different wallets and
key rotation.
Yeah, exactly. Like that would have been a much more satisfactory answer. And now it's like, now he doesn't even have to dox anything. It's just like, here's proof of reserves without giving away. It's just like a hash. Like it's yeah. Anyways,
100%. I also do want to point out that you and me and NVK and Francis dropped an episode back here on Tuesday. And I will say to the wonderful, wonderful psychopaths listening right now, it was a 2-hour deep dive into tech with a focus on privacy and kind of some other interesting stuff moving towards the future. That's a tough one to package. That's a tough one to throw in the thumbnail. I promise you, learning about this tech is absolutely worth it. And they had some fantastic ideas of things that they want and things that already exist as well. I was super, super excited about the idea of having silent payments with PayJoin. That is really fucking powerful. And if you don't know what I just said there, watch that episode. This is something you want on your radar.
Yeah, the PayJoin stuff was super interesting in that combo. I didn't realize what a low threshold for PayJoin user base would be required in order to basically screw up on-chain analytic stuff.
Yep. Can't track you.
Yeah. Keeping with the cold card / coin kite thing, just a little warning here from our friend Chris over at Seedor. Public service announcement: just received a quote quantum emergency update letter at our business address. Nice try, scammers. 2 red flags. And this is from CoinKite, not actually CoinKite, asking me to quote upgrade my seed security. And he said, point number 2, this email is way too polite to have ever been written by NVK. But yeah, like the letter is basically, what's it say here? Well, I don't know because it's in German. Either way, very, very, apparently very well done. Like full postage stamp and everything. So like they sent it to Chris at Cedar. Yeah, there's like a whole secure portal dash cold card. Holy crap. Yeah, that's pretty serious. So anyways, don't get bamboozled.
I saw these last summer with Ledger. And by the way, I saw NVK comment that as well too. There wasn't a data leak from CoinKite. This is coming from Ledger, and I think Trezor had a hack at one point in time as well too, and they're just hitting up that old customer list.
Yeah. Basically, if you got leaked there, they're just phishing, right? So like, yeah, a bunch of people are going to get these that don't have cold cards.
Yep.
But some people may be tricked into it. And on top of it, what happened after that data leak with Ledger, a bunch of people left Ledger and went to cold card.
Yep.
And so now those people that have been phishing probably have an indication like, oh, a bunch of people were mad about that, left Ledger and went to some of the other big hardware names. And so they're just, it's kind of like a spray and pray approach. Hopefully somebody gets this and they're like, all right, I'll just plug in my seed here and update and off to the races. So yeah, scary, man. Scary. I actually, and I don't want to, I just want to reiterate one thing here. You said earlier in the episode, you said more Bitcoin has been lost than stolen. And, but this is, when it is stolen, one of the most common ways of doing it is phishing, getting you to enter your information when you know you shouldn't.
Yep.
If anything ever asks for a seed, especially to a piece of hardware that you own, and to put it into a phone or a computer, never, ever, ever do that. And if there's ever a moment where you personally feel that you are panicked and in a rush to do something with your Bitcoin or with your seed or your key material, that is the time when you need to slow down, calm down, step back, and evaluate the situation slowly, calmly, and with a clear mind. Because as soon as you get panicked and you start acting quickly, that's where mistakes are made. So please take it from both of us and plenty of people that have come before you. Do not panic, take your time, and always approach everything. If there's a problem, if your seed was leaked or something like that, the Bitcoin will already be gone, right? And so you have time to confidently move forward once you understand the situation. Don't move fast. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Anything else to add in there?
No, I think that's absolutely right. If anyone's ever putting pressure on you, if you're ever feeling in a rush, there's something wrong, trust your instincts, do not panic. I see a lot of romance scams. I see a lot of investment scams as well too. Hey, you can turn twice your more Bitcoin. They still work, and people are still doing them because they still work. So be vigilant about that. And to your point that you hit on, but just to reiterate, if you generated a seed phrase with a piece of hardware, never put it into anything else that wasn't a piece of hardware, right? Never computer, never phone, only steel, paper, and another device.
Yep, 100%. Now tomorrow dropping, I've got a tutorial on something I'm actually pretty excited about, something kind of brand new in the Bitcoin ecosystem. Not a lot of people have tried this out yet, but we've got Arcade.
Nice.
Which is the ARC protocol. The ARC protocol is another self-custody layer 2 Bitcoin with very low barrier to entry. And so I walk through setting up the wallet. You can receive on-chain, Lightning, and via ARC, all interoperably. Same thing with sending. And there's no complex setup. You basically open the wallet and generate a key, and it's just good to go right away. You don't have to do channels, stuff like that you would with self-custody, Lightning, all that kind of stuff. No, it works right out the gate, and you can immediately use it. This is very, very new, very bleeding edge. You can actually, even if you want to, right now, you can go to arcade.money. So it's ARK, arcade.money. And you'll be able to create a wallet just in your browser right this second. and you'll be able to basically receive on-chain Lightning. And then once you've got some money, and you can send on-chain Lightning and ARC. But it's pretty awesome, and I've played around with it. You can do this on mobile as well, but it's slick. I think this is just another great example of Bitcoin scaling beautifully. There's so much new stuff, and this is unilateral exit. It's not like you're not beholden really to anyone. Like, you have self-custody of this. It's super cool.
No, it's fantastic. I love to see these things too, because even funny enough, pointing back to that conversation, there are still little problems with Lightning in some areas. It seems more on the merchant side, and NVK brought up something that I thought was actually an interesting point, is that I'm not in a position where I'm like constantly receiving inbound payments and have to really worry about managing channel liquidity. It's quite easy for me, and even Francis, same for him, because it's inbound and outbound all the time. So love to see this. Love to see Lightning and ARC operating together. It's still one of the areas I'm gonna have to watch that tutorial. I absolutely will watch it tomorrow, because it's still one of the areas that I have a bit of a gap in my knowledge. Like, I understand that we're doing some sort of a shared UTXO scheme, but I got to dive into the tech and the protocol and really understand what's going on under the hood. Because for me, it's like that'll just keep itching at me until I completely figure it out. So got to start working on that one.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I didn't fully understand it myself. I'm still parsing through it, but I do understand the concept, the concept of attaching conditions to where a UTXO can be spent. Yeah. And that's largely how this is functioning, saying like, okay, there's a UTXO sitting here, and then there's like a secondary mempool and VTXO subset on top. So it's basically kind of like another Bitcoin running on top of this that relates right down to the underlying UTXOs. But the conditions that are happening in the layer above mean this is how the UTXO down below can be split and sent out to individual parties on chain. And then you kind of have these gateways with Lightning. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Of course, there's some bolts plugin play going on here too. It doesn't have to be that way though. You can have ARC operators running Lightning nodes too. So there's a lot at play. I go through simply first, here's how to use it. And then if you're curious about the nuts and bolts, stick around to the end, and I'll do my best to explain it there for you. But
I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah, should be a good time. Anyways, Nathan, we are rounding out. What do you got coming up next week?
Oh, geez, I got a macro podcast with Rich Diaz from the Looney Hour, friend of the show, friend of Canadian Bitcoiners podcast as well, too. I actually met him at the Canadian Bitcoin conference out there was I in Montreal? I was in Montreal. I think that's where it was, just the last year. So excited for that one. We're going to record it on the Monday, and then I'm going to release it on the Tuesday. So quick turnaround, because the news with private credit and everything that's going on, and even energy markets, is going way too fast. So if the edit isn't as good, I was tired, but the information will be unbelievably up to date.
Yeah, and also you dropped a surprise one the other day with Simon, didn't you?
I did. I'd forgotten about that one as well too. Had a wonderful conversation with Simon Dixon, running through exactly what he's seeing currently in Iran and how he views it playing out and how it relates to this multipolar world. There was a lot of things that I had not considered. Some of them actually quite hopeful in some regards is where things are going. And the big one for me is that he's flagged April. There's a big meeting with the China summit in April that if things go the way he's seeing it right now, we could see kind of the end to what's going on in Iran then. So very, very interesting theory, very well thought out. It was basically me sitting there nodding and Simon talking for an hour. You're going to love it.
Amazing. All right. Well, everybody, thank you guys so much for watching. We had an absolute blast. We talked about a lot of stuff during this show, a lot of practical stuff also that you can do to respond to all of the doom and gloom that we see manifesting in the world in many different ways, both in just personal privacy and sovereignty on the internet, but also you got to get that Bitcoin unlocked too. So make sure you use the tools, peruse through the tutorials, get everything there. But if that's not helping, of course, you can reach out to myself and Nathan over at BTC Mentor, book one-on-ones, and get your setup rock solid. But we always play the clip at the end. If you want to check us out, make sure you pay attention. Anyways, we'll see you guys next week. I'm Ben. This was Nathan. This was your weekly session. When I first got into Bitcoin, I was overwhelmed. The jargon, the security risks, the fear that one mistake could cost everything. I remember staring at my screen and wondering, are my keys safe? Did I do this right? That experience is why I started BTC Sessions. For over a decade, this channel has helped millions of people like you learn how to use and secure Bitcoin. But I realized something. For many people, videos aren't enough. Everyone learns differently. Some need to ask questions in real time as an expert walks through their setup, their goals, and their threat model. And certain things like advanced cold storage, inheritance planning, privacy, and node or mining setups often can't be fully solved by watching another tutorial. So I built BTC Mentor. I recruited the best Bitcoin educators on the planet to work with you one-on-one. Real experts, real answers, personalized hands-on guidance tailored to your exact situation. Whether you're brand new or building a complex setup, we meet you where you're at and walk with you step by step. By the end, you don't just hope your Bitcoin is safe, you know it is. If you're ready for that level of confidence, then head to btcmentor.io and book a call with us today.